Okay, kids, it's time for the season 2 finale of the Fueled by Weird podcast, the only podcast unofficially sponsored by the Hawkins High chapter of the Hellfire Club. I'm Chris Daly, and today I have the pleasure of chatting with Isaac Fox. Isaac, how's it going, man?
Hello. I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for taking the time to hang out with me tonight.
I appreciate you having me on. Thank you very much. I
Abs-
thank Brooke for reaching out to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks to Lee Newman. Shout out to him for getting us all connected.
Yeah, definitely. I very much appreciate that. Like I
Yeah.
said, not a lot of people are willing to talk independence because well, we're not going to pull in the viewers like if you had George Clooney or Keanu Reeves come in and talk about Berserker, which it's true. We're not.
For sure. I mean, I've even had Kevin Smith on my show, and that show didn't get
Whoa,
as many views as some of the other independent stuff. So,
that's like one of the modern names most synonymous with comics too. That's
right,
insane.
it was kind of a big deal. But yeah, so I don't think it matters who. I think it's just the subject matter, really. So, but we're happy to have you. We're glad to have you here. We're gonna get excited talking indie comics because indie comics is my favorite kind of comic.
Same
So
here. Indie comics and manga are my two top favorites.
there you go. So usually how I like to start these things off is with an icebreaker question. So today's icebreaker question, which would you prefer? Three wishes over 5 years or one wish right now?
I think I take the three. It's only because I'm young and healthy.
There you go.
Uh, would change that vote if I was a little bit older, but I think given age and health, yeah, I'll go with the three. I can make that work. I need money, immortality, and then I'll figure out the third one later. But we need. I can't get those in one wish, so we'll make it work.
There you go. I think I'm the same one too. I don't want to just pop the one wish now and then have regrets later.
Let me rephrase that actually. I do the one because I remember reading this one power you could wish for is the best of all else. And that's the power to control probability. What's the probability that I get $1 billion right now? Now it's 100%. What's the probability of me never dying? It's 100%.
There you
Control
go.
probability, you win.
Okay, fair enough.
Power of math, right?
There you go. All right. So, with the title of the show, Fueled by Weird, the idea really is, all your hobbies, your interests, all that kind of stuff come together to make you who you are and, essentially feel you're weird. So, what kind of things are you into when you're not working?
Oh man, you said weird. How weird do you want to get? No. For me, I'm really big into comics and manga and anime were kind of the big ones for me. I
Right.
grew up in the 90s era when Toonami exploded as we first started getting anime. And I grew up from watching, like Batman animated series, which I loved,
Yeah.
fantastic. And
Yep.
the Saturday morning episodic cartoons like G.I. Joe, Epic Gadget, whatever.
Yep.
And then when I was about 14 years old, I moved down to Florida. Back when they used to show anime late at night on the HBO and all that, I
Mhm.
ran to Vampire Hunter D, and within 10 minutes, I got to see a guy's head explode and a boob, and I went, "What is this? This is amazing!"
Right on.
And then we saw Dragon Ball Z, where there's actually concurrent story and characters' actions actually have impact throughout it, and I was like, "Dude, this is amazing! This is like it's a mature cartoon." From there, I went into start reading comics and reading manga, and I went, "Man, for me, those things create a lot of feelings I want to recreate." So nowadays, it's weird considering the context of what I do now. What I usually go for if I walk into the store and look for like indie comics or manga, I tend to go for wholesome stuff nowadays.
Yeah,
Like I want something kind of warm. One of my favorites right now is Little Devils, which is weird considering that everything I make is either violent or etchy. So I'm like, yeah, I've seen Monster Musume, that was great, but I really want something with a happy story to it.
that's fair. I mean, you got to kind of balance out a little bit or else you'll go crazy. I always tell my wife that, she reads all these horror and all these like kidnapped like books and she'll like I'm so stressed out and anxious all the time. I'm like, you have to switch it up and mix something funny in there. She's like, well, this is the
Mm-hmm.
stuff I like. And I'm like, that's okay. And I understand that, but you have to mix a different genre in every once in a while, or else you're just gonna go crazy for your mental health for nothing else.
Well, variety is the spice of life, right? Like you
Yeah,
need
for
something to
sure.
mix it up. You don't know what you don't like and do like until you go out and try variety.
Yep,
Anybody who just consumes one flavor their entire lives has never actually tasted life.
it's true. And speaking of being a 90s kid, I'm also a 90s kid. So I remember all of that stuff, coming home off the bus, jumping on to TV, catching all those cartoons, or making sure you get home in time to catch Darkwing Duck or the Power Rangers or whatever like that. So yeah, those are the good old days.
Oh man, Darkwing Duck. I'm almost. I don't know how to feel they were on Kickstarter recently. I was like, we got funded in like 2 seconds. I'm like, are you surprised? You're Darkwing Duck, bro.
Right?
If you didn't, I'd be mad. Like, come on,
No,
you
serious.
knew it was gonna happen.
For real. All right, man. So, as a writer, what was it originally that got you interested and, inspired you to become a writer in the first place?
Well, when Toonami first came out, I am not the product of a happy childhood, and I'm probably mentally insane. But in my defense,
Okay.
nothing entertaining was ever written by a sane person. All the
Sure.
big name famous authors were always crazy. I don't care who they are. Tolkien, Poe, they're all crazy.
Hmm.
Uh, and I remember watching an episode of Outlaw Star where one of the main characters, they get their butts whooped by this like space pirate, right?
Yeah.
And they go to the space station to refuel, rearm, replan, all that. And then one of the main characters, like a kid, it's a coming of age story. He's like maybe like he's like 12 years old. He's becoming into that, become starting to realize who he is as a man and growing up into that. And he meets this girl, and they hit it off really well. And then, spoiler alert, if you haven't watched Outlaw Star, uh, they fight the pirate ship again, and the girl likes him back, which is amazing, and agrees to meet him later. They go fight that pirate ship again, and he comes back in the episode, and she's not there, and it breaks his heart. He doesn't know that the plan he made to fight the enemy, she was the enemy the entire time.
Wow.
So like the girl he just met that he was really into and she was really into him, he killed her and doesn't know he did it. Had no way of knowing she was the enemy. That just resonated with me. Like, that is real life, man. It giveth and then it taketh immediately. And a line from Malcolm in the Middle, like where Malcolm's mom tells him, "Honey, I'm proud of you. You just got something, and now all you can think about is how the universe is going to take it away." That really kind of resonated with me. That it was like, that's kind of how things go sometimes, but it doesn't always have to be that way.
Yeah.
And I went from that into happier stories, like I'd say, like maybe Tenchi Muyo or Batman the Animated Series, which wasn't always happy, but every now and then you had moments, and I was like, this is a show that makes you feel something. And
Yeah.
I've wanted my entire life to do for somebody else what those shows did for me. So I'm really just trying to pay it forward.
Yeah, man. Batman animated series, that very first episode with Two-Face. Ooh, it gets you, man. All
One of the
all the
later,
Iceman stuff.
I know it's from the comics too. One of the later episodes where Two Face breaks down on his knees and he's like, "I can't stop it. I can't stop doing this." And Batman doesn't hit him. He's just like, "I can't either, man." Like, that is great. That just makes me like, I'm a grown man. I am crying right now. This is beautiful.
Yep, for sure.
Well, the
Yeah,
writing, like you said, in the animated series around Victor Freeze was like, as a
yeah,
kid, it kind of went over my head, but as an adult, I was like, oh,
yeah, man.
dude, you're not even a bad guy.
For sure.
Life just screws you.
Totally. Now, what was it that got you to transition from being a writer to writing comic books?
Well, I started writing in college for fun. I'd written for fun up to that point, but I started writing seriously in college. And a
Yeah.
colleague of mine was like, "Hey, I want to make a video game," and he owned an independent video game company and brought me on to write for that. He got sick partially through it, and then I had to end up managing people. So I was managing a team of like 8 different like professional animators and all that at the age of like 21,
Oh,
and I was
wow.
able to do it, which was a shocking thing. We actually did it. We ended up signing NDAs. I can't say what the game was, but it did come out. Um, and from there, I wrote more in college. I had a professor who sat down and was like, "Yeah, you want to write stories? Yeah, you can do it." It was the first time anybody ever told me I could do anything in my entire life. And I'd worked on this thing called Cremisi for the longest time as a kind of a. I started as a video game, which didn't work out because I don't know how to program, and it wasn't very good. I was writing it since my teenage years, so it was just bad. It was just bad
Yeah.
writing.
Mhm.
And then I got older and I started honing it down. I wrote it into a book, and I realized this would make such a better comic book. But how do you do that? And I got very lucky at that point that I just happened to know some people. They just so happened to know Art Germ. They just so happened to know people that were very big in the industry. And someone like Mr. Gene Ha of DC gave me some great advice. I got advice from Brian Polito, Dan Mendoza, a lot of guys who were very kind enough to share some thoughts with me. And I went from there. I was like, okay, I'll try this. And apparently people enjoy it, wild as that is.
Very cool. And it looks like it led you to, creating your own comic book company.
Yes, sir. I own Astral Ticket Comics. So it's fun to say that we're like the biggest anime inspired publisher on the East Coast. Like, yeah, we kind of can say that, but there's not there's no real there's nobody else really doing that, so it's not as big as it sounds. Or one of the accolades, you just gotta take your W's, you can get them in life, right? Like, you don't, life
Yeah.
does not hand out W's. You gotta take what you can take. I
Yeah.
like when I'm at convention, like, yeah, we're the biggest. We make the biggest comics in America's biggest city, which is true. outside of Alaska by square mileage, because Jacksonville, Florida is the biggest city in the country by square mileage,
Yeah.
not by population. LA County has more people than all of Jacksonville combined.
Well, and yeah, I mean, just because no one else is doing what you're doing, you shouldn't take that away. I mean, if no one else is doing it, you're the biggest. You win. So that works.
My, I try not to think about it like that because I'm always afraid, again, that mentality of the universe taking it away. If I think
Uh,
about it, then the universe is going to snatch it from me. The way I look at it is I work with a team of very, very skilled artists who have dedicated their lives to what they do. We do not use AI. I have no desire to use any of that trash. And I look at it going, I need to do well because these artists, some of my artists now rely on me in order to pay their bills. So I
well,
look at it like I have a responsibility to make sure that my reader, my backers are happy, and my team is happy. That's all that matters. And then I put myself like fifth on the list. And I think just keeping that mentality has kept me flying straight, so to speak. And I'm just going to keep trying to do that the best I can.
that makes sense. I mean, because especially if you settle, if you get in the mindset of you're the best, sometimes, you can get settled in that mindset and you kind of just coast. So that's always good if you are looking to always try to better yourself. Then yeah, that's
Oh,
a good way to look at it.
I've never thought myself as the best at anything. It's fun when people ask you questions and you know the answers to things. But
Yeah,
what is more valuable isn't what you know, it's what you don't know. So I'm always trying to figure out like, hey, what do I not know? And with Kickstarter, what you know almost doesn't matter because what worked 3 months ago doesn't work now.
true,
It just evolves so fast.
true. Now, what led you to creating your own comic book studio?
Primarily, I just made my debut series was Promisi, which is my passion project, which admittedly kind of takes a backseat to the other books now. But I just really wanted to tell that story. And it turned out that as we did it, I was like, this is fun. I enjoy doing this. I like working with artists and meeting people and like sitting here with you. This is a dream come true to me. Just this. I would take this over Letterman
Yeah,
any day,
I appreciate that.
providing he was still alive. Uh, but it just turned out to be something I really enjoyed. And I worked a job. I worked, a desk job for a long time. I've managed retail, and what I've discovered is a universal truth that I cannot stand taking orders from people who are not qualified to spell the word manager, let alone do the job.
Okay,
And I
fair
didn't
enough.
like how corporations in our country treat people. I think that a lot of people are treated to be expendable, and I don't agree with that at all. I think people should be treated with respect and like people. So I said, well, what Bender said. I'll make my own company, blackjack and hookers. If you don't like it, if you don't like something, do it yourself. So I decided I'm going to do that, and I'm going to take care of my people the way I would want to be treated if I was working for a company. Put their names above mine, and always take care of them first. So we kind of went from there, and then we just started making more series, and people. We ended up getting a fan base, which is half a Kickstarter is just knowing who your fan base is and figuring out how to get to them and who they are because it's not the
Yeah.
same for everybody.
Hmm.
And spent time actually having conversations with our backers and asked them, what do you guys like? What do you want to see more of? And we took that information and well, now we have like, I think 4 or 5 series in active production with a new one coming out next year.
Very cool. So speaking of that, we've got a Kickstarter right now for you. Foxy Vacations 2024, the Naughty Cosplay Comic. Let's talk about that for people who don't know. What's the book about?
The thing behind me. So
Okay.
we did Foxy Vacation 2022. And what the idea was, well, because we're an anime inspired company, if you ever watch anime, every anime has
Hmm?
to have either a beach or a hot springs episode. It's required by law. If you
Okay.
don't, the Yakuza shows up at your house. You have to do that. Like,
Okay.
okay, we'll do that. So the 2022 was our hot springs episode. And we decided, well, what's wrong? And we get a lot of requests from people asking to see our characters in different kind of outfits or settings. So, well, what if we just did one of these every so often, where we take our characters, we put them in a situation that would justify them being scantily clad or not clad at all, and go from there. And what that turned into became Foxy Vacations, which is a full page, it's a full naughty pinup book. Every page is like a full naughty pinup, minus 6 comic pages, which are just silly fun for people who are familiar with our mascots, kind of fan service for backers. But it focuses on our characters and just cosplays. And what it is, they're all done by artists from all over the world. We have big names like Greg Will Watson, to up and comers, to even a couple of professional H artists who are on the book. The content isn't H, just saying I don't allow that until someone writes me a fat enough check. We will not do that. But it's tasteful nudity. Nothing more you see in an art museum for the most part. And I just give the artist, hey, here's the character. Which character do you want? Okay, here's the cosplays I like to see him in. Do what you want to do. So what the book kind of became was an opportunity to show off artists that are up and comers that may not be someone that's currently on a viewer's radar. Someone like Nico Mo, who draws really cute female characters, and maybe nobody doesn't. He doesn't have the reach of someone like, let's say, Dan Mendoza or Stanley Lau. No, let's show off some of these new guys so they can do. Because there's a lot of untapped potential and skill coming from people that just draw on Twitter for their own Patreons.
Very cool. So with this book, is it, all the characters from your main series all coming together in one story, or how does that work?
Yes, sir. It's the characters from all across all of our comics. So my most popular series is called Suck You Busted. It's got the Demon Girls from that. It's got some of the Fox Girls from Cremisi, some of the of age women from Pure Intent, and just characters from all across our universes just kind of being thrown into a situation together. It's kind of like Marvel and DC do it a little bit where they just throw everybody in a thing.
Okay.
Udon has done some really good ones in the last couple of years for their they do the swimsuit series. They've done them where it's dark. It's like a Street Fighter and Friends, and it'd be like Chun Li and then Morgan from Darkstalkers together, because they're all, I guess, technically from the same universe because they're all Capcom properties.
Gotcha.
Essentially the same idea here, but it also gives us a chance. We have a couple of characters who we call them mascots. They're
Mhm.
not in the comics themselves. They appear on covers. They help us. The girl behind me is my company mascot. She also handles our Kickstarter service and Twitter. So it gives opportunities to kind of throw them in more stuff and let people see more of them and throw them in some rather delectable attire.
Very nice. Now let's talk about the Kickstarter for a minute. Last time I checked, you guys are doing incredibly well, so congratulations to that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Um, what kind of, let's talk about that for a minute. What kind of cool stuff do you guys have for, I'm guessing you've got stretch goals, stuff that you can talk about,
Oh
just
yeah.
so people know what's available.
Well, one of the big things we did this time is something we wanted. We wanted every backer to feel like they were getting something special. I don't want somebody to back one of my campaigns like, oh, I just got another copy of it. I want to do something kind of trying to pay that back, the appreciation for them supporting us. So
Sure.
one thing we did this time is we have a piece inspired by the legendary works of Frank Frazetta, I'm a huge fan of, that features three of our girls in kind of a Conan-esque cosplay situation. And this time, that was the first stretch goal we unlocked. It becomes the standard back cover on every copy from the first print run only, meaning that the only Kickstarter books, the ones printed from the Kickstarter run, are going to get that back cover. When the books go back to reprint later on, they'll have the standard cover again. So every single copy from this run is guaranteed to be just you guys. Nobody else is going to get that.
Gotcha.
We've also got we always do some wallpaper packs. People seem to like the digital items a lot. We do get a lot of digital backers, and I can understand why, considering we have to charge. It's the dumbest thing to me in the universe that it costs almost nothing to ship to Hawaii, where I have to go across the country and across an ocean, but to go to Toronto, where you have to cross an invisible line made up of somebody's head, the price is 4 times the price. This
Yeah,
is
it's
absurd to me.
it's crazy expensive to ship to Canada. Even shipping from Canada to the States is crazy expensive.
It's absurdly. I don't get it. I can get there way easier than I can get to Hawaii,
Yeah.
but imaginary lines are a thing, I guess. So we do some most of our stretch goals we make we also make them available digitally to try to help out with that little problem, so we don't have to make anybody feel like they're missing out. One of the big things I've always harped about is I don't ever want a backer to feel like he has to choose between having a delicious dinner that night or getting the cool thing. I don't want to make you make that decision. I really don't. I would feel bad about it. I try to keep the prices down to what I can to balance that. And I try to throw in as many stretch goal items as I can. We've had campaigns before where it'll finish and maybe we didn't get a stretch goal. Like, hey guys, you know what? We're going to throw an extra thing in anyways because I want you guys to have this because I appreciate what you did. We've also got a Azumi Fox sticker. Azumi's my mascot. I don't have a good picture of her up here on my desk, do I? I kind of do. No, that's not going to work. But that sticker is her in a Sailor Venus cosplay. It is a naughty one, so just be advised. It's definitely some missing parts of the costume. One of our taglines for it is because this comic is a naughty cosplay pinup book, The gag being that they all go to a fictional convention called Astral Ticket Con. I am not putting on a convention. I don't have any desire to do that. Here it's a nightmare. But this is an adults-only cosplay con where cosplay malfunctions are encouraged. So you get to see, well, just that. I know if you've ever been to a lot of conventions, some of them now will have. I think I've been to one or two where it's after 5 o'clock. Nobody under 18 is allowed on the floor. They kick out everybody under that, everybody else, and then you see people walk around in some rather, let's call them lascivious cosplays. Okay, let's do something like that. That looks fun.
Yeah, for sure. That's really cool that, you know, real life can inspire fiction. So that's really cool that a lot of times that, creators and like yourself do that. And it's really cool when, you can find a way to tie your company into something like that. Because I've done something like that with my writing where, I'm trying to look for the name of something. It's like, oh, I can just stick this in here. That's perfect.
Do you ever get somebody asking you like the correlation to a real life thing? You're like, I've never seen that thing in my life. I have no idea what you're talking about.
I haven't had that yet, but I have been able to kind of pay it forward, like you. But um, I'll take people who are influential in my life, and I'll try to turn them and kind of pay tribute in my writing somehow like that. So that's
Well, that's
really cool.
beautiful though. I
Yeah,
think every writer puts a little bit of themselves in their characters,
for
and
sure.
sometimes you put a little bit of people in the characters. You may not realize you've done it until after you read and go, "That's like something he would do." Oh wow, okay, I didn't mean to do that.
Yep.
The subconscious mind takes over. Sometimes you don't realize it.
Sometimes it turns into a happy accident.
It really can. I've had some pretty happy moments that happen with characters. Uh, like, oh, did you get that idea from me? I'm like, no, but now that I think about it, you do that, don't you? Oh, okay, all right, yeah, okay.
Maybe I
That's
did.
what I just don't know it. Okay,
Right on. All right. Is there anything else about the Kickstarter you can tell us? Anything else that's coming up that we can talk about?
absolutely, absolutely. The book is admittedly a fan servicey book. Not all of our stuff is that per se, but this is definitely meant to be more of a treat for the individuals who enjoy that kind of content. What we have on this one, this is the first time I've ever done it. We have a cover called Cover G, which is done by the amazing Lena Dye, who works a lot with, I think, Mount Olympus. This is the first time I've ever done this one. We have a character who is an incubus, who is male, and the fan service on it is, well, male. And I've never done a male fan service piece before. It's always just the ladies. That being said, our company does believe in a thing we call equal opportunity fan service, because there are plenty of ladies and fellas, or otherwise, who enjoy naked, cute guys. So we did one of those. I'm happy to say it's been a popular one so far, so we'll probably do more of that again in the future. On top of that, uh, like I think I mentioned it before we got here, that nothing we do involves AI. I don't have AI art on anything we do. We have a graphic where one of our girls stomping on an AI screen for a reason. So when you support anything we do, that money is literally putting food on not only my table, but my entire team's table. Admittedly, Foxxy Vacations is a guest book, where if you go through the graphics on that page, you will see a ton of names from people who are not part of our actual team, but they contributed either an interior pinup or a cover. Somebody like, let's say, Greg Will Watson, he's for Presentascope. He's got an interior piece on there. Or Tezzy H, she's done she's done one of our covers. We have one from Lyrics, who now she is very much involved with Marvel and
Oh, nice.
very, very busy with them and doing some crazy stuff. Oh yeah, she's amazing. She's I don't know if she's Ardrum's right hand or not, but she definitely seems like she is. Her style is beyond beautiful. We do stuff like that. This campaign, we offer all the exclusives on that book, so you're guaranteed to get that back cover. What I think I always tell people to do, if you're in Kickstarter, like 80% of your battle is convincing people you're going to keep your word, because so many,
Yeah.
34% of them that actually get funded don't deliver anything ever. What I invite people to do, we have a link on our page for it, is go through comments on every campaign I've done. This is our 13th Kickstarter. I've been in comments for 10 years. And go
Nice.
through all of my previous campaigns and just look at comments. You're not going to find a negative one, because if anybody ever says, hey, my package came in damaged, all we ask for is photos. New one sent out, no questions. After that, we don't ask. I don't care if your dog chewed on it. I don't care if the USPS side run over with a truck. You show me the damage, you get a new one. Sometimes packages get lost. That happens. Let us know. We take care of it. We pride ourselves on having, I don't want to sound pompous, but the best possible Kickstarter service we can give somebody.
Sure.
Uh, Occasionally, you get somebody who never fills out their survey and comes back like 2 years later. Hey, where's my books? Bro, that was 2 years ago, and you didn't fill out your survey. We sent you a reminder email. I did everything but call you. I'm sorry. But other than that, Kickstarter backers are really a very amazing set of people. They're incredibly patient and understanding as long as you are clear with them every step of the way. And we have
Yeah,
got a good record of doing that. Kickstarter gave us the badge of backer favorite, which is
nice.
not given, it is earned, meaning
Yeah,
that you have done several campaigns and backers have unanimously reported to Kickstarter that you do what you say you'll do and you're not trying to scam anybody.
that's
So
awesome.
if you're going to check out a comic book and you don't want to read, Foxxy Vacations is 19, technically 20 pages of pinups of girls and guys. And then there's 6 comic pages that were heavily inspired by the classic Rainbow Six books and games. That being said, it's very silly and very etchy. So if you're fans of things like, let's say, Monster Musume, High School DxD, well, you're going to be in the right place.
Very
And there's
cool.
one of our covers on there that if anybody can tell what it's from, I think it's cover H. I want to say which one it is. It is cover L and cover M. If you can guess those cosplays, you know what they're wearing. You are a person of culture, and you're in the right place.
Very nice. Now, this story, is it kind of a standalone story with all of your characters, or does it tie into the main series at all?
It's completely standalone. It's considered. I will not sit here and say the writing of those 6 pages is Eisner worthy because it's meant to be a silly kind of give back to those who are fans
Okay.
of the character of our mascot girls.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just meant to be silly and over the top, almost like slapstick Looney Tunes. We jokingly use the term slapdick sometimes instead of slapstick because of the adult level of the humor.
Sure.
But it's you don't have to know anything about any other series we've ever made. Part of the point of Foxxy Vacations, one reason why we make the books cheaper on Foxxy Vacations than we do our other books, is we
Yeah,
want it to be a chance for somebody to jump on. Like, hey, I kind of like this character. Where's she from? Or this guy's really cool. What book's he from? And help people get into those books that way.
very cool. Now, if someone goes to back Foxy Vacations 2024 and sees a character, or a characters they're more interested in, is there a way on this current Kickstarter to get issues of other comics? Because that's something
Absolutely.
that's something that I really like is when a Kickstarter campaign will give you an option to do kind of like a catch-up tier. Not even necessarily a catch-up tier, but like have add-ons where they can get other books from the same publisher.
No, catch up tier is smart terminology. I like that. We definitely do. We have more add-ons than I care to even think about. I think we have like 37
Oh
add-on,
wow.
no, 38-ish. So what we normally do is we take one cover from each book we've done, and we order one physical and one digital. So if you
Okay.
want to get into Suck You Busted, say you like the succubi girls that show up in Foxy Vacations who are cosplaying some Overwatch's characters. If you decide you like that and you want to see more of that kind of stuff, you can go on there down to the bottom of our campaign where you'll see starting at add-on number 12. You can get digitals all the way up to the physicals for issues 1 through 3. They're out right now. We have another series called Mistress Azumi's Adult Lessons. It has been a very popular series for us. That book is co-written by Azumi, and what that series, if you I have to ask you this, you talk to a lot of guys in comics, right?
Mhm.
How many of those guys either are or have been teachers?
I
None.
don't know, actually.
I promise if you start asking that, you're going to find out it's almost everybody, myself included.
Okay,
I was an English teacher. So what I learned is once we get to a certain age, we kind of don't like learning anymore. We just stop.
sure.
So what I decided to do, what we did is we created a series that's Mistress Suzumi's Adult Lessons, and it's things that adults should know how to do, taught by a lascivious fox girl and her very naughty friends. The first book we ever did on it was just to see if people would like it. It was about budgeting, certified by a CPA as an actual good lesson in just basic budgeting practices. People loved it, so we keep doing those. Any book that we make, we will put it on a Kickstarter with whatever that campaign is about. If you want the full catalog of everything we offer, all the covers, different variations, you can get those on our website at foxycomics.com with 2 X's, not 3, because it's not that kind of website. Uh, but we always try to, and if there's one thing people want, we always invite backers to talk to us. We're really big into communication with our backers.
Yeah,
So if you see something on our website that you want, like, well, I don't want to use PayPal to pay for it. Can I get on the campaign? Yes, you can. Send us a message. We will make custom tiers for you all day. I will bend over. Any of us will bend over backwards to make backers happy. So if there's something you guys want, just let us know. We'll take care of it as fast as we can. Usually within the same day.
that's awesome.
I kind of, I'm surprised my partner hasn't ripped my head off yet because we can be sitting there doing something together. I'm like, hey, I gotta go. I got a backer needs me to make a thing. I gotta go do this. But I'll be back. This takes priority. Sorry. It's just
Yeah, I get
there's
that. It's kind of the same thing with me. Like I'll tell my wife, I got a podcasting thing really quick. I'll be right back. And she's just like, okay. But yeah, I'll have to start asking about teachers. I know a lot of the comic guys I talk to, a lot of them either are currently or are former, they dabble in IT somehow, which,
Yeah, it's a lot of that
did-
too.
you do too. So, or you
Yeah,
did. But yeah,
yeah.
lots
I
of
work in pro
IT
sports
guys.
IT.
Yeah, lots of IT guys. IT guy myself, actually.
Oh, rock on, man.
Yeah, for sure. All right.
I did
So
that job
after,
for like 8 years.
what's that?
I did that job for like 8 years. I did not go to college for IT.
I also did not go to college for IT. I learned it on the job, and
Mhm.
I've been doing IT since 2009. It started off in hardware, and then the last 4 or 5 years, I kind of swapped to software. So it's been a little bit
Nice,
different.
man.
Yeah.
We did most of what I was involved with was networking and broadcasting, which
Oh, nice.
is a whole different monster. And if anybody
Yes.
out there who wants to work in broadcasting, I have a piece of advice for you. No, you do not. It is the weirdest environment in the world.
I'm sure.
Comics are an entertainment environment as well.
Yeah,
People
yeah,
forget that the comics are entertainment, and entertainment is the meanest industry out there. It does not care. Entertainment's the only industry in the world that can look at you and say, "Yeah, you're too fat or not fat enough for this job." That's the only
yeah.
job that can do that to you.
Yep.
Uh, and broadcast is the same thing, except you will be in there, and the guys are yelling at each other, screaming, threatening each other, and then when it's done, they all go up and get dinner together. It's the weirdest environment in the universe.
That's crazy.
If you like high stress environments, it's good for you. But if you're not, if you're more of a chill back kind of person, no, I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah,
I wouldn't recommend entertainment in general.
I'm getting too old for the for the high stress stuff.
Yeah, I feel that.
I'm just relax all the way, chill environment. That's
There's one of the YouTubers I enjoy. So he has a video he talks about where YouTube is a young man's game, and I'm honestly believing Kickstarter is kind of the same. As
yeah, I
it's
believe
definitely
that.
getting harder to. I love that I get to do it, but our
Yeah.
last run was like 573 individually customized packages.
Holy cow.
Do that. Doesn't sound like a lot. Do that by yourself, at least 80% of that by yourself, and tell me how your back feels.
That's a lot. My
But
God.
it is, I will say, it's one of those things. It's a pain you're grateful for. It's kind of like a good
Yeah.
workout. Like, oh, this kind of hurts, but it's a good thing though. I'm glad I feel this way.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. So after Foxy Vacations is over, what do you got planned up for the rest of the year?
We are scheduled for the next about 3 years of Kickstarter,
Oh, wow. Okay.
potentially longer, depending. Yeah,
Mhm.
I was told by someone a long time ago that the big boys don't look at their current campaign. When you see somebody like Mr. Brian Polito launch a campaign, that's not on his mind anymore. The next one's on his mind.
Sure.
Like I try to adopt that mentality and incorporate it with what I do. Luckily, I got lucky that as far as management goes, I was literally taught management by one of Disney's execs. Took me out on his yacht, sat me down. This is how Disney does things. If you're going to run a business, do things this way.
Oh, wow.
Okay, with a little more heart than they have, but
Yeah.
still. Next up for us is going to be Pure Intent number 3, which is the final issue in the Pure Intent series. It's a prequel, but not a prerequisite to the Cremisi series. That one's very different than Foxxy Vacations, and that for the first 2 issues at least, the main cast is 14. So you don't see any of the fan servicey stuff because, for obvious reasons, we're not going to let that happen.
Right.
Uh, Issue number 3 is a time skip that will come coupled with Mistress Azumi's Adult Lessons number 3. And then next year, I'm very, very excited, and I hope we can talk to you about when it comes out.
Sure.
Our new flagship series called The Manticore, which is a World War I high fantasy setting that follows a group of cuties who are sent on special missions to win the war. They're the first ever mixed species special unit. So you have a human, a demi-human, an Oni, and a dark elf in a high fantasy setting with World War One elements to it. So, bolt action rifles, machine guns are brand new, all that fun kind of stuff. A little bit of history mixed in, but in a fantasy universe. Cannot wait to show that one off.
That's awesome. That sounds great.
Thank you.
Yeah, and yeah, you're more than welcome to come back anytime. So you want to hit me up to talk about it, just let me
Dude,
know.
I appreciate that. And again, thank you for at least giving, the little guy a chance to speak. We really appreciate that.
Absolutely, man.
It's
Now,
for the longest time, it was like everybody had their own like YouTube channel, right? Now everybody's got their own comic.
yeah,
And the quality does vary. There are some people out there who are beyond amazing, like Mr. David Byrne, who's actually a professional and knows what he's doing, and his writing will blow you away. And
yeah.
then people like me who are, we're trying. People tell me I'm good, but I don't know if I believe that yet or not.
It I've found that when it's hard to take a compliment on writing, especially for me, because a lot of times it kind of feels like they're just saying it just to kind of give me that attaboy. Like
Yeah,
it kind of
definitely.
depends on who the comment's coming from, I think, just to see if it's whether or not it's coming from a genuine place. I think a
The
lot of
thing
times
that,
people mean well, I think, but yeah, sometimes that makes me wonder if they even read the stuff. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, it's that, or it's every now and then you get like a hyper picky thing, and like, well, yeah, but I mean, if I didn't do that, there wouldn't be a story. It there has to be a suspension of disbelief when it comes to comics or manga,
Yeah.
I think, because how many times has Batman been tied up by the Joker? And Joker goes, "Okay, Batman, you're over this tank with a shark. I'm going to leave the room now with no guards in here whatsoever, and you're going to die. Bye bye." And of course, Batman breaks out every time, and Joker continues doing it. Why? Because if he just shot him in the face, there'd be no story anymore.
Right.
So we have to let these contrivances occur.
Yep.
And I feel bad about when those things happen. Like you just said, it depends on who it's coming from. The one thing I've learned is, as much as it hurts, the jerk is really valuable because they're not gonna sugarcoat it for you.
Yeah.
When I first did Cremisi and got reviews on it, when I very well, I think I was like 17 when I first showed it off to somebody in a forum, and they were like, "Yeah, the lot this sucks." I was like, "Okay," and they said why, and I went back to it and I rewrote the whole first section and came back like, "Oh, this is good. We like this." I'm like, that's at least it hurt and it was depressing, but at least I got told up front, like, hey, before you step out into the real world, you want to make sure that your legs can support you. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
No, and you're right though. I mean, it's hard to get, honest, constructive feedback from, your friends and colleagues because they're afraid of hurting your feelings. So yeah,
Make some friends
sometimes,
with a jerk.
yeah, exactly. So,
I have two editors. One gets me for grammar because even as an English teacher, I make mistakes in grammar. I've never met anyone who doesn't. And the
right.
reality of it is, no writer is good without a good editor. He
Yeah.
gets behind me, make sure my grammar is good, and then I have another guy who gets me on story. And I was like, hey, would this character say it like this? Maybe this feels more natural. You're right. I should rethink that. That's a good point. Let's go ahead and redo this. Let's redo this panel right here. I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah.
That's one of the first things I always tell people is, if you want to write, man, just make sure you got somebody to be honest with you about it. Don't be like, oh, this is really good, and then you go out in the world and you just get punched in the face immediately.
Yeah. I mean,
Metaphorically, of course.
it's kind of a double-edged sword, because you have to be wanting to get the feedback, but you have to be able to accept the feedback too and not have it hurt your feelings and know that it's coming from a good place. 'Cause
And that's hard.
that is the hard part, because you want the feedback, but then when you get it, you're like, never mind, I don't want it. Ow, my feelings, ow. So you
The
have to,
counterpoint to that is people tell you it's good, and you're like, it could be better though. I appreciate that, but it could be so much better.
yeah.
Because you don't want to believe it. You're like, the imposter syndrome kicks in. You're like,
Oh yeah, for sure.
the thing that's kept me afloat through that is seeing that even Neil Gaiman has suffered with that. He feels like
Yeah.
he doesn't belong in the circles of, like, quote unquote big name writers. Sir, you wrote Sandman. What do you mean you
Right.
don't belong there?
Right.
But like, okay, I feel a little bit better about it. It's not just that someone who's a big boy has the same problem. Like, okay, I
Yeah.
don't feel so bad in my training pants now.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. Before I let you go, I want to have you leave us with a final thought. What's some advice you'd give to some creatives? What's a bit of advice?
I've been I've been practicing that question a lot lately. I get asked at
Okay.
conventions and stuff, and I will tell everybody right now. I'm going to sound harsh, but hear me out, please.
Okay.
What is the most powerful weapon on this planet?
Yeah.
Everybody always says. Everybody says. Most people just say nukes. Like, no, it's not nukes. It's not. It's not nukes. It's not hydrogen bombs. It's not guns. The most powerful weapon on Earth is willpower. The
Okay.
problem is, willpower is a machine that requires fuel. That
Mm.
fuel takes many forms: love, compassion, passion for your work, hatred, revenge. Anything can fuel that engine. And a lot of people step into whatever their creative choice is. It could be painting, it could be drawing, writing comics, maybe you speedrun video games, it could be anything. But they run out of fuel for that willpower and they give up. So the advice I would give somebody is, can you look me or anybody in the eye and say, without a doubt, you have enough fuel to run that engine? And if the answer is anything but a resounding yes, you need to sit back for a little while and think about the scope of what you're doing and try to figure out what matches how much fuel you have.
That's good
And
advice.
if you can fuel that engine, you can go anywhere.
Yep, for
It might
sure.
take a while, but you can do it.
You're gonna get there. That's good advice. Thank you. Now, where can we keep up to
Always
date with stuff going on with you?
We are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Foxy Comics, Astral Ticket, so AT, and then Foxy with two X's, Comics. We also have our website, foxycomics.com with two X's. But if you want any of our exclusive kind of stuff, the best place to go to is going to be Kickstarter, which is just Astral Ticket on Kickstarter. If you go on that, we actually have a Discord server. So the ladies behind me here, you can actually talk to them. They are admins in that server. Azumi
Oh,
Fox
nice.
handles it. Yeah, Azumi's great. Actually, I am going to grab my Azumi standee here. This is Azumi. She's the one who's in charge of our fan server and Discord. She'll handle that, and she also handles special requests. It's like we have backers that come and say, "Hey, I would like to get this cover, but like in a glow variant." Sure, okay, we hadn't planned on that. We'll do it. Let's talk to our supplier and see what we can do for you. So that'd be the best places to find us. We try not to be hidden, which unfortunately is in a world where everybody is upfront. It's hard to stand out.
Yeah, for sure. And that's cool because I think Azumi is the one that actually originally reached out to me to set up this interview.
I think so. Yeah. So I got lucky that she helps with that, and that I got lucky that people that are willing to help me. For the longest time, I said if I have one actual superpower, it's the ability to get others to take part in my crazy ideas. There's my power right there.
That's
And
good.
I'm very grateful to my team, Mitsu Blinger, Krius, SRX Nico 97, Neela Fox, all of them, and we take good care of our artists. And if you don't believe me, one of my artists is now my adoptive daughter, and one of my other artists now takes on my last name. That's what we do for our people.
That's cool. And it's really nice when you're able to kind of get people on board with, whatever your crazy idea is, because creating stuff, in my opinion, is a lot more fun when you're doing it with other people. When you do it by
Yeah.
yourself, it kind of sucks by yourself, but when you got other people with you, it's a lot more enjoyable.
It's more fun, and it gives you people to motivate you.
Yes.
I'll another advice that I get from when I'm doing a campaign about to do that, I tune up a bunch of old Toonami promos. And one of those Toonami promos has Goku talking. Like when I see somebody who's that strong, it makes me want to train even harder, push myself to their level. So I have friends who are amazing people. I'm like, God, you can do all of this and still find time to play a game. Like I have got to get back into training and get to your level, man. I gotta get there.
Yep.
And that's to me, that's one of the best things you can ever have. Is like you just said, doing it alone sucks. You have people around you that they can motivate you and make you feel like you need to be better, to push you to be the best version of you can be. At the end of the day, the only person you need to beat is the guy you were yesterday. Do that every day and you'll get there.
Absolutely. Now, if you wanted to keep up to date with, this interview, lots of other great interviews, go check out my show, Fueled by Weird, on YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. And you can also now find me on the Spotlight Media GA app. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook just at Fueled by Weird. If you want to shoot me an email, you can shoot me an email at fueledbyweird@gmail.com. The music for the show is by Polygon Horizon. They're a great band. Go check them out on Bandcamp. And I want to thank my sponsor, The Zone Collectibles in Tifton, Georgia, your one-stop shop for comics, collectibles, and so much more. And speaking of, doing things together with your friends, the Nerdy Man Room show with my friends Hassel and Monster, Hassel's Review, and Big Rob's House of Entertainment, and No Chinese Food. We just got together and created a brand new podcast network called the Stay Weird Network. It's dedicated to bringing some awesome back to the internet because there's a lot of crap out there and life kind of sucks and there's a lot of really crappy things going on. So we're gonna do a combined effort with all of our shows to kind of put some positivity back into the internet. You can
That
check
is
us
awesome.
out. You can check us out on at Stay Weird Media on YouTube and Instagram. You can also send us an email at stayweirdnetwork@gmail.com. You can check out Foxxy Vacations 2024, the Naughty Cosplay Comic on Kickstarter right now. I'll make sure to put the link in the show notes. And
Thank you.
if you like the show, please leave a review and tell your friends because word of mouth is our friend. And remember, kids, life is too short to be normal, so stay weird. Isaac, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.